welcome our beloved viewers to RTD's News English edition. As usual, we'll begin tonight's news with the major and top highlights. Let's follow. The head of state receives an emission from his Algerian counterpart. Three million people called to evacuate an approaching typhoon in Japan. Those were the major top highlights. Welcome back to our newsroom, our beloved viewers. The President of the Republic, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, received this Sunday late morning at the Palace of the Republic an emissary of his Algerian counterpart, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune. Carrying a message, the emissary of the Algerian President received is none other than Mr. Kamal Rizieq, the Minister of Trade and Export Promotion of this brotherly and friendly country. And the message he handed to the head of state relates to an official invitation from President Tebboune inviting his Djiboutian counterpart to participate in the 31st League General Meeting of the League of Arab States to be held in November in Algeria. After the audience, the Algerian Minister of his Djiboutian counterpart, Mr. Mohamed Warsa Medere, present at the event, spoke to the Djiboutian press and indicated in their intervention that the meeting served as a framework for the evaluation of ways and means to increase the level of exchange and cooperation between the two countries and the two people brothers. In particular, the merits related to the establishment of a joint commission between the two countries, which would have the mission to define projects of shared economic interest for both nations. Djibouti and Algeria have vocation to endorse together partnerships in a series of economic challenges on the agenda in the region and in the continent. Food security, an issue that is particularly acute in this part of the world following the combined effects of a severe drought and soaring prices following the war in Ukraine, is already identified as a major pole of strategic cooperation between the two nations. In this specific partnership, the Republic of Djibouti logistics platform offers plan and gateway to an economic of commercial market at about 400 million consumers would ensure a lull of relay to Algerian goods. The realization of an active collaboration in the field of skills transfer, especially in industrial development, has only been brought to the rank of project conducive to cooperation between the two countries. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Mr. Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, took part in the meeting between the President of the Republic, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, and the Algerian Ministry of Trade and Export Promotion. The emissary of the Algerian President, Mr. Kamal Rizieq, told the press that he was carrying a written message from the President of Algeria, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune. The message is an invitation to the President of the Republic, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, to take part in the summit of the Arab League. He added that the Algerian President to address these greetings to his Djiboutian counterpart and wished him peace and prosperity to the brotherly Djiboutian people. The emissary said that this interview was also about ways to consolidate the bilateral relations of the two countries. Now we read the following decree from the presidency, which is about the COVID measures. In Article 1, this decree alleviates the prevention, control, and response measures put in place against the spread of COVID-19. Article 2, wearing of masks and practice of social distancing, the mandatory wearing of masks and the practice of social distancing in all public spaces and all public and private establishments open to the public, all public transport, all public maritime and rail transport, all place of worship. The wearing of a mask in the above-mentioned areas remains strongly recommended for all persons at risk of developing a serious form of the disease, as well as for all personnel working in a care structure. The article number 3 is hand hygiene and validation of the premises. The provision of hand washing devices or hydraulic gel is strongly recommended at the entrance and exit of all public and private establishments, in particular care structures. The manual ventilation and or the mechanical ventilation as much as possible of the closed places, such as professional environment, schools, places of gathering of which the place of worship, where a group of people is called to remain, is also strongly recommended. Article 4, vaccination against COVID-19. Vaccination against COVID-19 remains compulsory for all individuals, Djiboutian nationals and foreigners over 18 years of age, residing in the national territory, and this in accordance with the national directives issued on the subject. The fifth article, health control system at the borders. For arriving travelers, authorization to enter the national territory is subject to the following conditions. All fully vaccinated passengers are exempt from PCR testing. Any traveler not or incompletely vaccinated will be required to present the results of a negative RT-PCR test performed within 72 hours prior to departure. In the absence of this, he or she will benefit from a PCR test that will be performed at the point of entry into the national territory. For outbound travelers, Djiboutians and residents over 18 years of age upon departure from Djibouti are required to present proof of a complete vaccination schedule unless a certificate of contraindication is presented to leave the territory. Travelers must present the result of a negative PCR test if required by the regulations in force to the destination countries. A strong delegation from South Sudan on a working visit to Djibouti, Prime Minister Abdelkader Kamel Mohammed welcomed in the early evening a strong delegation from the South Sudan led by Vice President Taban Dengal. After the reception, the Vice President and the Prime Minister had a first meeting in the VIP lounge of the airport. The discussions focused on the relationship between the two countries and the ways and means to further develop. In addition to the Prime Minister, several members of the government, including the Ministry of Communications, Mr. Radwan Abdullahi Bahdon, and the Ministry of Infrastructure and Equipment, welcomed the delegation from South Sudan. During its mission in Djibouti, the delegation of South Sudan will meet with high dignitaries of the country, including the Prime Minister. The Ambassador of the Republic of Djibouti to France in the United Kingdom, Mr. Ayad Moused Yahya, in representation of the President of the Republic of Djibouti, Mr. Ismail Omar Ghaly, is currently attending the funeral of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II in London. The ambassador had the opportunity to bow down and pay his respects in front of the coffin at the laying-in state to say, on behalf of the Republic of Djibouti, a final farewell to Her Majesty the Queen. Furthermore, the ambassador had the honor to sign the Book of Condolence at Lancaster House and recorded a message of condolence on behalf of the Republic of Djibouti. He also symbolically laid a bouquet of flowers at the Green Park, where hundreds of thousands of people came to express their sorrow for the loss of the servant. The ambassador also handed over to the African Department the original written message from the President of the Republic of Djibouti, Mr. Ismail Omar Ghaly, to His Majesty King Charles III. Finally, the ambassador will participate on Sunday evening in the reception offered by King Charles III to the dignitaries who came for the obsequies. He will also be present on Monday morning at the Abbey for the state funeral, following the reception at Church House, organized by the Secretary of State for Foreign Affairs. The awareness campaign on the registration of young people in the electoral register continues at Sub-Prefecture of the 3rd District. On Thursday morning, an important meeting was held at the Sub-Prefecture of the 3rd District in the presence of the President of Commune of Bil'aous and the two parliamentarians of the 3rd District, Honorable Ibrahim Ahmed Abdou and Honorable Mahmoud Mustafa, the Sub-Prefecture of the 3rd District, Mrs. Fatouma Ibrahim Ali, officials of the Ministry of Youth and Culture, local elected officials, as well as several other personalities from the civil society. The team chosen was the Association to the registration on the electoral list for the next legislative elections of 2023 in order to strengthen the registration work of the Ministry of Interior in the different districts of the 3rd District. In the end of the distribution in the water distribution network of the city of Djibouti, the water delivery pipe from the desalination plant, which has suffered some technical problems last week causing disruptions in some areas of the capital, is now operational. ONIAD technicians have worked hard to ensure that this water pipe is repaired by the deadline given, according to the firm instructions given by the Director General of ONIAD, Mr. Mohamed Fouad Abdou. A successful challenge for return to normal. In this sense, the management of ONIAD apologizes to its customers for the inconvenience caused. The 15th IMUSTAD Users Forum was held in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, from 12 to 16 September 2022. It was jointly organized by the European Organization for Exploitation of Meteorological Satellites, the World Meteorological Organization, in collaboration with Tanzanian Meteorological Authority. The forum was attended by hundreds of participants, including directors general of National Meteorology Agency, expert meteorologists and climatologists from the services and institutions in general, Horn of East Africa region, Metro France, but also experts users of weather and climate information. The Director General of the National Meteorological Agency, Mohammed Ismail Noor, then met with the Director General of the Tanzanian Meteorological Authority to prepare an MOU, and then he visited the Marine Meteorological Department in the port of Dar es Salaam. On Thursday, September 15th, was held in the meeting room of the Regional Council of Tajurra an information exchange session on the project participation of civil society in governments and local development. The project is funded by the European Union and implemented by the International Association of Francophone Mayors under the institutional anchorage of the Ministry of Interior. The general objective of the mission is to exchange with the members of the Regional Development Coordination Committee and civil society organizations on the project on the guidelines of the call for proposals to civil society organizations for the realization of concrete projects in line with the local development. The meeting in Tajurra was chaired by Umar Hussein, President of the Regional Council, and also participated in the prefecture. The meeting was attended by about 30 people representing local elected officials, decentralized government services, and civil society organizations. The fact-finding mission is expected to continue in the region of Tajurra and in the 3 communes of the city of Djibouti. A ceremony of distribution of Diwan al-Zakat for orphans took place in the center of Ar-Rahma of Dakhil on the morning of Tuesday, 13 September. Diwan al-Zakat Foundation proceeded to the distribution of the first installment of the sponsorship fees for the year 2022 to more than 85 orphan children who received a sum of 15,000 francs each. The head of the sponsorship department, Mr. Adan Hussein Adan, in the head of the telecommunication department of the Waqf property, the deputy prefect of the Dakhil region, was all. The head of Markaz Ar-Rahma of Dakhil were all present, and the parents of the children were present also at this ceremony. Still in the same context, the Diwan al-Zakat proceeded in Ali Sibih to the distribution of the third installment of the sponsorship contributions of the orphans of the city. A total of 80 orphans are sponsored by Diwan al-Zakat with its sponsorship support at the national level. Accompanied by their parents, they received the third installment of their sponsorship. Shifting gears towards the international scene now, Japan is preparing for the passage of Typhoon Namdal on Sunday, 18 September. Let's follow.
One of Yoshu's southern Japan on Sunday, carried by repetition strong winds and strong heat waves. Never seen, according to the Japanese Meteorological Agency, nearly 3 million people have been ordered to evacuate. Thousands of people took shelter in shelter Sunday, September 18 in southwestern Japan as powerful Typhoon Nanmadol slammed into the island of Yoshu, prompting authorities to recommend that more than 3 million residents to evacuate the premise.
The Humboldt Forum, a huge museum in the heart of Berlin, opened to the public this weekend. Let's follow.
A huge museum in the heart of Berlin opened to the public this weekend on the rooms where the bronze of Berlin are exhibited. These works are among the most famous of African art stolen during the colonial era. They are reported to be returned to Nigeria, where the former capital of the Kingdom of Benin was located. This restitution is the fruit of years of struggle on the side of Nigeria and Benin. This objective represented our ancestors, our fathers, so now that they have been prospered to the kingdom, they will feel the void they left for all this year, explained Kate Ainana, a curador of the National Museum of Benin. The Benin bronzes were escorted in several European museums after being allotted by the British on the end of the 19th century.
By this, our beloved viewers, we conclude this edition. Thank you for being with us, and make sure to tune in later for more. Have a wonderful evening. Take care. Thank you.